You are listening to INTERFORM Podcast with Ro on the radio. You're going to want to hear this.
Welcome to INTERFORM Podcast. This is a special episode we recorded live during our model workshop. So if you missed it, this is the episode for you. We're going to be talking about tips and all kinds of advice from people in the modeling and fashion industry. Enjoy. Next, we're going to talk about maintaining your goals and safety. So this is a big one. What do I do if I don't feel comfortable or safe with the photographer? Some of the red flags. Some of the red flags that I have experienced is when a photographer, before we shoot, will ask me for photos in my underwear or in bras or things like that. That is a red flag. A red flag is if they get angry if you decide to or ask to bring someone with you to the shoot. That is a huge red flag. Any photographer that is reputable would feel comfortable with you bringing someone else because that's safety for them as well. Another red flag, depending on what you want to shoot, you have to know what you want to shoot. It goes back to what Zack said. So if you don't want to do boudoir or swimsuit photos, then look at the photographer's website or their portfolio. If that's all they do, then you may want to go with another photographer. And I'm not saying that photographer is going to be inappropriate automatically, but if that's all that they shoot, then that may be something to look into. Also, phrases like when you're uncomfortable with a pose, they may say something like, you're holding yourself back, or get yourself out of your comfort zone when it comes to what kind of poses, suggested poses, things like that. That is a red flag as well. So you definitely need to be aware of that. I've worked with photographers that have been, working for a while, and sometimes they will ask me to sign a model release form. Sometimes that's good because that means that you're protected, they're protected, they're not going to use your photos on an inappropriate site. So those are some things to keep in mind as well. And then I would say, if you, when I said getting into people's DMs, obviously be professional. But before you shoot with a photographer, do your research. Like I said, if they have the model tagged, you can ask the model, hey, how was your experience shooting? I'm shooting with the photographer that you shot with in 2 weeks. I just want to know, how was your experience? You can be friendly about it. You don't have to say, hey, is he weird? I mean, I may say that, but don't say that. Just learn from my mistakes. But there's ways to protect yourself before the photo shoot. And I would say most of the preparation comes before the photo shoot. And be confident enough to say no. There's plenty of photographers out there. You don't have to shoot with that weirdo. You know what I'm saying? That's what you have to know, because I think a lot of models are so eager to shoot and get started. And they're well, I have to. And, this is my opportunity. Girl, there's plenty of photographers out there, so make sure you do that. Make sure you do most of your work on the front end. I will say that. All right, what are some things that people should look for? We'll start with you, Kathleen.
Okay, so the word no is a complete sentence. You could just say no when they ask you to do something, and to your point, Ro, I once had a photo shoot with a female photographer out in the street. It was during Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. And she wanted me to get on a bike and have a very provocative pose. And I was just no. And she was cool, right? It was a female. I didn't feel weird with her. But when she asked me to do this one pose, I was just absolutely not. No, sorry. Yes. I'll stand next to it and, point at something, but I'm not going to do the direction she was giving me. I was just no.
Be confident with your,
yes.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And you don't need help putting your clothes on. So if they ask you to, oh, here, let me help you with that, or put lotion on you, you can be I got it. I mean, even if they offer, I'm out of there. But just know that you don't have to let people do anything. I don't care if you're trying to be a model and this is really important to you and you were really excited about it. If they start acting weird, you got to be out of there, okay?
And you don't owe them an explanation, too. You could just say no. You don't have to be no, because, and you could say no because I'm a mom, I'm a professional. No, I just don't feel comfortable. But you could just say no and be nope, sorry, nope.
Dana, what would you say?
I think shoots like this, I think that you would get in where you're maybe a little more vulnerable would be when you're trying to start out and you're trying to build your portfolio. Anything that you get from your agent, an agency's job is to vet these people. If it is a job, they should already be aware of them and have a relationship and know that they're not trying to whatever. So that could be your first call. If you get red flags, you call your agent and then you leave, or they will take care of it. That's what you're paying your percentage to them to handle for you. A, vetting it, and B, protecting you. And also when you get there, especially if it's a paid shoot, there's a whole set of people. So if you get there and it's just a photographer or just there should be a stylist and hair and makeup or a producer. You should have all this contact information before you get there. Then there's an art director, you should never be one-on-one, ever. Even when you're just testing, to do something for your book, there's generally a stylist. It never, ever should it just be you and a photographer. So
that's good. What mistakes have you made in your... No, I'm skipping ahead. Just kidding. What are some ways to build a positive reputation as a professional model? And this will be a quick one because I think we've already touched on that. Be on time, be nice, don't be a jerk. Okay? Is that I think we should.
Yeah, I also think like with the opportunities that we have locally, like take Northwest Arkansas Fashion Week, the models are volunteers, but at the same time, it's still a job. And professionalism is still expected, and that lends to your reputation. Whether it's a volunteer or a paid job, just keep that in mind.
Yes, because you will see these people again. It is Northwest Arkansas.
Yep.
Let's see. We'll move on to reflection and finding your niche because it is 3:13. We've been talking. Yes. What mistakes have you made in your modeling career that you learned from? Child, y'all want to go first? Because I got a lot.
Wow. That's so good.
Yeah.
bad haircuts, or deciding you want to change color, and then you go to someone who you've been working for 2 years, and they're like,
Did you have the bayang?
and just no, I didn't do that.
I have to ask because whenever I was like working with like models in Dallas and stuff, is it best practice to discuss a hair change with your agent first?
Absolutely. And
Y'all hear
generally,
that?
you have to be okay with. You kind of, when at an agency, you get put into
A box.
a box, and you have your strong points. Every now and then, you get to have fun and do something outside of that. But you have to be okay with keeping shoulder-length hair, staying blonde. And if you're the type of person that likes to change things then you're probably more of an editorial type model, or have wigs or things that you can easily change back to what you're being portrayed as. Especially the more you work, the longer your career goes on, people want that blonde girl showing up. They don't want somebody that went red and cut 4 inches off. That's not the people. Kohl's or JCPenney's, when you're looking through that catalog, you start building a relationship with these people that you see book after book after book, and they have their faces of their different brands. So if you want to have that continual monthly, weekly work, you have to fit into that box. So, giving up 10 years of being crazy and trendy, it's a trade-off. So
Wigs, girl.
you just have to... Yeah, so that has to be something that you're okay with,
Yes.
or being able to easily transition back to. Tattoos, all of that. Luckily with Photoshop, there's things that you can do, and there's body makeup, and but all of that affects, how much time or effort they want to put into you. So if you're somebody like Ro, you could come into our studio and ask anybody, and they'll be like, oh, who's coming? Oh, Ro, oh my God, that's everybody. Oh, she's so great. Oh God, I love her. Like, it's, or so-and-so, and they're like, good luck, you know, and it is an easily thing, or, oh, hope she doesn't have it. I mean, we refer to people like, you know, fake tan knees, because people have streaks, you know, they'll show up trying to come tanned, and their ankles and their, you know, have the streaks, and post is like, oh God, is it that girl? Because they know that they're gonna have
to do more
an
work.
extra hour work trying to even out skin tone.
Yeah.
So there's just things, and you easily will get tagged that.
It's basically like your resume. Like, if you got hired as someone who knows how to do this, and you get the job and you don't know how to do it, like Zack said, you'll be fired. So it's, I would say one of the many mistakes I made is I took everything personally. Like when I didn't get a job, or when I didn't get a booking, or I didn't get picked for something for a casting call, I was like, it's because they think I'm ugly, or it's because I'm too fat, or it's because of this. And it's really not. Like 90% of the time, it doesn't have anything to do with you personally. I'm gonna tell you a story about America's Next Top Model. In 2003 or 2004, I think it was, I was working at the mall in Nashville, Hickory Hall, and they had that casting call. And I just knew I was just gonna get picked, and all of my worries would be over, and I'd be a famous model making millions of dollars. It's not exactly how things work out. So when I didn't get picked, I cried myself to sleep, and I was like, I'm never gonna be a model, and I'm never gonna do any photo shoots ever because I'm too ugly, and nobody wants me to be a model. Like, calm down. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes is don't take everything personally. There are some agencies that I did not get selected for because they already have 20 black 5'10" girls with short hair. It doesn't have anything to do with the fact that they don't like me, or I just, didn't audition well, or my measurements are off. They already got me. So just don't take it personal. And I will say the next thing is me sitting on my hands, even when I got signed with the agency, and not doing anything. Not doing shoots, not updating my portfolio. It doesn't work like that. You still have to practice and diversify your portfolio. You have to create more opportunities and work. Even when your agency doesn't book you for something, it doesn't mean you sit at home and wait. You still have to create things for yourself.
On that note, I would that is also when you're deciding to go with an agency, that agent should have been on you to do those things.
Exactly.
Especially if you're new. They should have been calling you, hey, come in, we need some new digitals. Hey, this person's in town next week and we've got 5 spots open. Do you want to test with them? $100. There's a stylist there, they'll bring stuff, you just got to show up. If you make money, they're making money. So they should be working for you. If you have someone who doesn't contact you in a month or 2 months, keep looking.
I've had that.
They are working for you to get you work. So it's a mutual relationship. So
absolutely,
there's a ton of bad agencies and bad bookers, and so you have to find that fit that works for you.
That's good. Do anybody have anything to add before I move on to the next one?
I think the biggest mistake I've made is comparing myself to other people. Never do that. Don't compare yourself to anyone. Know your uniqueness. Know that you are único. How do you say it? Uniqueness? Yes, and you're there for a reason. So, other than that, I've made many more, but that's the big one.
What's the best way to handle rejection? I'll tell you. Don't cry yourself to sleep. What would you say the best way to handle rejection is, either from an agency or a booking for you, Dana?
Honestly, if you really want to go down this path and work in this business, you have got to get a thick skin. Yes. It is not personal. From a client standpoint, every single product, every job, they have, that creative director has that vision. It has nothing to do with you. It is so beyond what you think goes into that. It is not a personal thing. You just have to brush it off and know that that next opportunity is coming for you. There is enough work that, that's the beauty of this is, whether you're 5'7", 6 foot, a plus model, a petite, there's something for everybody. You just have to be patient, and it is so not personal.
That's good.
Definitely have grit. So definitely almost expect to fail. When you go into this industry, almost tell yourself, I'm going to fail. and it's going to have to be okay, and I'm going to have to just like push through it. So just always have a positive reaction to failure, because it's kind of like what Dana was saying. If you are not prepared to fail, then you're in the wrong industry. So,
Do you have anything to add to that? Like, what if someone doesn't like your concepts as a stylist or creative director? How do you handle that rejection?
Yeah, I think I think the best way to take all of that is to just look at it as feedback. See it as constructive criticism. It's not somebody that's trying to knock you down. It's somebody who's trying to convey like the experience that they already have, working with someone who doesn't have that experience, which is totally fine. And those people can actually be the best tools for you to actually grow and learn from the industry and how to continue moving forward. Everybody, especially in like a stylist or a creative director, everybody sees everything differently. Nobody is going to have the exact same idea or image in their brain, and that's okay. But at a certain level, you're either there to execute it or to create it, and just knowing when to do that and when to add and when not to say anything, I think is super valuable. And then being able to just kind of go with the flow and wait until it's your turn to actually be that person to create.
That's some good advice.
I also want to add, and this is just really quickly, when I was young and I started modeling, I failed so much and I would get rejected so much that it has actually helped me in my professional life today. So if you learn to just pull through and have that grit, you might actually get more out of the failure than you did of every single success.
You said a mouthful right there. How does someone who's not like the standard size get into a modeling agency?
There are so many categories. I was a plus model. It's started off 12, 14, and then for a while it went down to 8s and 10s, and then it went back up to 18s, and so every customer, every client has a little different vision. There's petite, there's big and tall for men is what they call them, and that is a very lacking division. So if you know anybody that
you heard it,
that is a tough one, because I guess guys that size just don't think that's something for them. So kids, this area in particular, diversity, it's a huge thing right now. There's not a lot here. Of all kinds, and they're growing. Sam's, we have a project coming up that they want same-sex couples. They want able-bodied. So there's it's getting there, and there is something for everybody.
That's very refreshing. I'm sorry.
No, I will say though, like for a very long time, that was not the case.
That's true. That's true.
And it's super encouraging that the industry is like making that change. There's still areas where it is very behind.
Sure.
And they're trying to catch up. But it is moving in a better direction. So
yeah, I think it's very refreshing. Also, I would say don't listen to people who are not in the industry tell you what you can and can't do. As far as like your size, or like you're too short to be a model, you're too old to be a model, you're too this, you're too that. They have fit models, and some of them aren't, the typical size 00 or a sample size. So when you get your feedback about what you can and can't do, then make sure it comes from somebody who's actually in the industry, for example, who could lead you in the right direction and provide you with some sound advice. Last question, and then we'll get to audience questions. I know y'all better have your questions ready. What modeling opportunities are there in Arkansas?
go for it.
Who you want? You go first. Kathleen, you want to go first?
I can definitely go first.
All
So
right.
I want to say the first people here is right here, INTERFORM. Northwest Arkansas Fashion Week started here in 2012, and I mean, I was lucky to come across it. But that's the first one. And then, of course, we have agencies like Stage 28, we have Sculpt, we have boutiques, we have photographers who really kind of want to start to kind of jumpstart like their own little factory. But more than anything, I would like to say being a self-starter. So if you want to start modeling and you're looking for that opportunity and you're not finding it, you create that opportunity in anything, in being a stylist, in being a creative director, in being a model, in being commercial, or in being runway. Nothing's holding you all back or anybody who wants to be a model to self-start. So
That's good.
I will say too, don't try to like skip steps. Like, cause I know people who have like asked me about being a creative director and being a stylist, and they've never styled a photo shoot before in their life. But yet they think that it's kind of below them to just get some friends together and do it on their own time. If you want to do something bad enough, you're going to find a way. That way you can start creating the path forward. But don't think any opportunity is below you at all. I will say for INTERFORM, for our modeling opportunities, we have photo shoots outside of Northwest Arkansas Fashion Week, but for the majority of the time, the photo shoots, the models that I pull for them are from the auditions that we have for Fashion Week, because I have photos of you. I've met you before. And I have your measurements as well. And I more than likely have already worked with you and have probably built a good rapport with you and would love to work with you again. And all of our editorials that we do, we try very hard. Maybe we're successful at it, right? Of showing a wide range of diversity.
Yeah, we are.
We love that because the community is that, and that's who we are as an organization as well. But yeah, we always get emails as well and DMs about people being like, if you have an opportunity, I would love to model for you. And that's information, like contact information that we keep, and we hold on to it and see if there is an opportunity, maybe we could bring that person in. But for me, the people that I pull the most from are the people who come to auditions because they show up.
I would say too, stylist-wise, hair and makeup, if that's something you're interested in as opposed to the modeling part too, there's agencies in town. There's video is getting really big now. We're always looking for freelancers. Like, I need assistant stylists. It's a place to stay and see if you are interested. We don't do all fashion. We do have a lot of lifestyles and, can you fold a stack of towels? Things like that. But it's a definite learning experience and kind of guides you into the business so you can kind of pick and choose your path, because there's so much. It's not just apparel and clothing, and we shoot crazy wide variety of things at the studio. So, and PAs, photo assistants, just coming in and ground level, but learning it all. I started that way. And I think it's to get an overall view of the business in general. If modeling doesn't work out for you, there's so many other avenues for you to be part of it. So, reach out to the agencies, drop off a resume. I'm always looking. So, and there's other places in town. So just put yourself out there, and you never know.
I do know too that a lot of agencies in larger cities, they have different divisions where like they have modeling side and then they have like hair, makeup, and styling, to where they'll actually for like different magazines and things like there were shoots that need like a product stylist or a photo shoot that needs like a full-on stylist, and like pulling looks and things from different stores that want to be mentioned in the editorial, different things like that. And those people have agents as well. It's not only models. So
I would say make sure you know why you're doing it first, because if you're doing it for validation and you think that the only way you could be a model is if this happens, like stop having that frame of like that mindset, because I feel like that was one of the things that held me back, is I'm like, I'm not a model unless this happens, or I can't do a photo shoot unless this happens. And that was not the right way to think about things. You can call a photographer, you can look at Pinterest and get some clothes at Goodwill, and you can call your friend that takes pictures on the side, and you can create your own photo shoot without waiting on people. Like you can do it twice a month. You can do it whenever you have time. Like Zack said, if you really want to do something, nothing's going to stop you from doing it. So don't let outside people tell you like you can't be a model because you're not this or you're not that or you're not with an agency. You can still do it and like perfect your craft and get so good at it that you're not even paying attention to who's not picking you, because you're picking yourself. I want everybody to understand that. So now we are going to open up for audience questions. Anybody have any questions? Yes, can you stand up and speak loudly with your blue shirt? What's your name? Hi, Brittany. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dana, I'll give you. you like Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands. Just put them right there at your sides. Like, okay, Dana, I'll let you take that one, and then I'll take a little bit too.
I want to take a little bit too.
Yeah. Honestly, look at magazines, look at ads, see how they're angled, and then just open up your laptop, put the camera on live, and just move around. Record yourself, and you'll learn which is your good side, which your bad side. If you put one hip out, how it changes the alignment, posture. Cameras have crazy, just flip it around and just practice. Look in the mirror, when you're in the rear view mirror, you'll learn your good angles. Everyone has different ones. But the body, just looking at what's out there and then just putting that computer camera, whatever, on live and just record yourself for 20 minutes, and you'll look back and you'll know, you'll figure it out real fast.
Zack?
We had talked about this the other day, and I'm really glad you asked this because I think it kind of goes here. The thing to remember if you're on set as a model is, I know a lot of people think that like the model is the talent and like the star of the shoot, but the model is more the tool. The product is actually the star, and everybody that is there is a team to make that star shine. So hopefully that would take some pressure off of you. A lot of times the like creative director or the art director will give you like feedback on set to like change up your posing and different things like that. That way that as they're seeing the photographs being taken, they have ideas of what their shot that they want to like capture is. And so like that's not just on the model, that's on everybody there, because they're all trying to accomplish the same thing to make that product the best that it can look, so that it can sell and make the client money.
I would say one of my problems, the reason why I wasn't confident at first behind the camera is because I thought everybody's gonna think I'm stupid, or everybody's gonna think I look stupid, like posing a certain way, like what are they gonna think about me, that kind of thing. So part of that comes from practicing before you shoot. Like don't wait until that shoot to be like, okay, what do I do? Like practice way ahead in advance before you actually get to the shoot. Depending on what kind of shoot it is, because I know when I do shoots with like Sam's Club and things like that, I can't just be putting my hands on my hips and doing America's Next Top Model and like these crazy poses and doing something different every click, because the clothes have to remain a certain way. So I'm pretty much like stiff. So depending on what kind of shoot it is, that will help you know what kind of poses to do. Now, if you're just doing a like a fashion shoot or a glamour shoot, know that when you hear the camera click, you need to switch up your you need to switch up your pose. You can't stay in the same pose for 20 clicks. Like, you're gonna get 20 or 30 pictures that look exactly the same. So when you hear the click, like, have it in your mind, like, I gotta move my body. And then like I said, knowing what kind of shoot. So like if it's a commercial shoot, what I've noticed when I look at magazines or things like that, if it's commercial, you're gonna be smiling, there's gonna be some separation in your teeth, like you're gonna do the look over the shoulder like, oh, hi, that's so funny. Like, there's different ways to pose for different types of categories. So just like learn that and do tons of practice before actual shoot day. And you don't look as stupid as you think you are. Everybody knows that you're there to model and you're gonna be changing your body and your facial expression. So don't worry about someone behind the camera like, oh, she thinks she's all that. Like, who does she think she is? Because that's what I thought. So Kathleen, do you have something?
So yes, so the first tip I would say is know your body. So like for example, me, like I, for the life of me, cannot get rid of my hips. So and that's just the way I was born. Like, I'm tall and I've never been super thin, and I just have really big hips. So I always knew to tilt, just kind of like slant my body. Now, that's not everybody. There are people who if I were directing, I would say, well, because of your body, just kind of give me a face forward and then just move your arm. But I just would say, know your individual body, because what works for you won't work for your neighbor, won't work for the girl behind you or the guy in front of you. So know your body, practice a lot. Rose said it, grab a friend, go to Goodwill, grab some clothes, have a friend say, hey, come over, let's take digitals. Your advantage, everybody's advantage is that you can just delete. This will tell you but like, I used to have to buy those cameras that I would have to take to the, what were they called?
Polaroids.
Disposable camera.
Oh, disposable
yes.
camera. You had to
I had to get those
developed.
Yeah.
I want doubles.
Exactly. But just practice. I would definitely say the mirror, but a photo gives you really what you want, but practice a lot.
I'll say, remember this, the closer your limbs are to your body, the bigger you will appear.
Yes.
So if you don't want your arms to look bigger, then they need to be away from your body, like create some sort of space. So there we go.
Another tip that I was given, that I don't even know if this would be valid, but something that I was given was, because you're in front of the camera, if I was uncomfortable, I was doing something right, because that's just not my natural posture. So if I was sitting up, if I was standing up straight and kind of like putting my belly and just kind of tilted, it looked great for the camera, even though I don't normally walk around like that, So just, that was a tip. I don't know if you can either take it or leave it. If I was uncomfortable, I was actually getting a good picture, but the moment I got comfortable and I was like, hey, that was like, I was like hunching, or I looked bigger or something. So again, just practice.
I think that's also part of knowing your own individual body as well, because for her, what makes a good photo is an uncomfortable position for her, but for a lot of people, if it doesn't feel natural, it's going to look unnatural on camera as well. So you kind of just have to play around, figure out what is best for you, and then have photos taken so that you can kind of reinforce what that is for yourself.
Absolutely. Next question. I know y'all got questions. Okay.
Yeah.
What's your name? Susan. Most of the time, I would say when there is a casting call, they will have the information for you, and so you need to read it thoroughly. Like when Zack was saying, if he sends out an email about what to bring to an audition or what to bring to a photo shoot, you have to read it all. I feel like some people get excited and they skim through it and they They miss very key details. So every audition is different. Every casting is different. So I can't tell you for all of these, you need to do this. But I will say, first and foremost is you have to pay attention to the details. Get somebody else to read it to you, because sometimes a fresh pair of eyes helps. Read it more than once. Those types of things are very helpful. What would you say, Dana?
I think make a little effort. Even if we have a lot of fittings where we just have people come in to see if the actual item we're shooting fits them okay. So we'll have 3 girls come in for a sweatsuit. And a lot of girls, especially if they've been there a few times, they'll just come from the gym or rolled out of bed. And even though the client is just looking at the clothes, your face is still showing. So I think a lot of times girls don't get picked because there's no makeup, or they come with their big glasses, their hair is just like they don't even comb it. We don't want you all dolled up and glamorous either, but learn just a nice, simple, natural, brush your hair, have it in a pony. Coming from the gym is fine, and then still smile and still make an effort. Some of these girls just come in and they put it on and they just stand there. So the fitting images are
Girl,
crazy.
do you want this money or not?
Yeah, like even though you're there to see if the outfit fits you, they're still gonna remember this.
Yeah.
So just make a little effort.
I'll say, for model auditions that we hold at INTERFORM, confidence, I think, plays a very big part of a selection process. We usually don't really, I guess the word reject a lot of people.
But the ones we do reject, it's for a good reason.
It really comes down to confidence, because if you're in a room with it's the 3 of us, Ro, Kathleen, and myself, we're looking at your walk. If you are really nervous in front of the 3 of us and the maybe 5 other people that you're in line with, how are you going to be on a runway in front of 400 people?
Exactly.
Because that's also, you're selling that designer's look. And if you aren't able to walk confidently in those clothes on a runway, then I'm doing a disservice by putting you forward and having them possibly choose you. And then you either get nervous and can't go out on stage because you have stage fright, or you're just kind of crumble on the runway because you have so many eyes looking at you, Mm-hmm. So I would say try to build that as much as possible. And then test it in front of people if you can, to, kind of safe-proof yourself whenever you get up in front of people. I think asking a question in front of a room full of people
That's
right now is really good. I don't know, at a certain time in my life, I would be way too scared and I would have left and been like, I had a question, but I was so nervous I couldn't do it. But I think that's great.
I would say some of the ones that stood out to me when we are judging auditions and things like that are the people who didn't follow instructions. Yeah. If it says in the post, if it says in the stories, come with jeans and a black or a white T-shirt, and you come in with a neon pink T-shirt and you've known about it for weeks and you couldn't just get one from Goodwill, something. You could have done something, but the fact that you didn't pay attention to a small detail like that, how are we going to know that you're going to read the emails thoroughly when we pick you as a model? How are we going to know that you know what time to be there? So little things like that, just paying attention to the instructions that are given to you, at the beginning, they make an impact.
I would also say be genuinely you. So we have had casting calls where you could tell people are nervous and then they nervously laugh, and it's cute, right? It's cute when you smile, because then it takes out the smile and we're like, wow, that was a beautiful smile. Yeah, let's pick her. So, don't go in there thinking you have to be like Tyra Banks or you have to be like Naomi Campbell, or, you just have to have this face and pose face, smile, definitely come in with a good disposition. It's really just to provide a service. You are the walking silent salesman for a designer's vision. So if you think of it that way, I'm here to provide a service, for a designer, for this organization. It kind of humbles you to reach a level where you can go in there with so much more confidence.
All right, next question. And then you. What's your name? Okay. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a very good question. Most of the time, they're not going to know what to do with your afro. And that's another reason why I have wigs. Because if there's going to be damage done, it ain't going to be my real hair. And sometimes, depending on the budget of the particular shoot or product, they may not have a hairstylist on set. So I would encourage you to watch some YouTube videos on how to put on a wig. I would encourage you to reach out to friends who know how to do wig installations or who know how to make a wig look natural. I would take that upon yourself to learn how to do it, so that way if it's not available or if you get into a situation where they don't know how to do your hair, then you've got your bases covered. As far as makeup, that has been an ongoing problem the entire time I have been a model, especially when it comes to runway. They are probably not going to match your skin tone correctly. I would bring your own foundation to a lot of if you get chosen for a runway show, bring your own foundation. And if they know how to do it, sometimes you do have to trust the process too. Like, I'll just trust that they know how to do it. And if they don't, you can bring it up in a professional way. Like, hey, is there something different we can do? Like, you do have to remain professional, but I will say it does not hurt to be prepared, and you have to always be prepared. This is for everybody, but especially with women of color, matching foundations is a problem. There are stylists and makeup artists at New York Fashion Week that don't know how to do models' hair and makeup, and it's a problem that they're working on. But my advice to you would be, learn on your own and always come prepared. Bring your own foundation with you. If you don't wear foundation, then go to Dillard's and get your skin tone matched, and just have that foundation with you. You may not even wear makeup. It may break your skin out or something. But if you got it, in your medicine cabinet or in the bathroom, just in case, then you're already 2 steps ahead of everybody. So definitely take care of that and be prepared and just learn how to do it. Yes. What's your name? Okay. Yeah, it's basically going to be a book of pictures. I don't even know if people still use portfolios. They may do online portfolios or digitals. A model digital is basically you in the same clothing, like your headshot, maybe you from the side, full body, and you smiling. But as far as building your portfolio, it's basically just like a book of looks, different looks that you see yourself accepting bookings for. So if you want to do more commercial shoots, then you probably would need to have more commercial pictures in your portfolio. If you want to do high fashion editorials, that's cool too. Make sure you're in the right area for that. But just have a diverse book of looks. What would you say, Dana?
I guess it's easy for us to know the lingo, but
yeah.
Like if you did a shoot with someone, let's say you're in capris and a t-shirt walking in a pretty field, or something simple, and then maybe a swim shot if you're comfortable with that. A black and white in a black dress, a little bit heavier makeup. It's showing your range, and it's showing different types of things, so that if that client is looking at it and they want, a Betty Crocker, you have that there. Oh, it's swim week in Miami. Oh, she looks great in a swimsuit. Mm-hmm. You've got that in your book. Oh, she can be sexy. So the things you're comfortable with and the kind of jobs you want to try to get are the kinds of, we used to call them testing, but you go do a shoot and you get that range of looks is what they called them. So, but try to have different things, to cover your bases.
I think an actual portfolio has kind of evolved over the years. Back in the day, it was like a leather-bound folder that had clear pages in it that you put the photos that you printed out, usually 8x10, and you'd put one in the front and in the back. And so every time someone turned, there was a photo of you from a different photo shoot that you did, showing your diversity and showing the work that you did. That's why it's like a visual resume. Now, I've been to some castings where models will bring their iPad, and it's more like a slideshow. I guess it's the sustainable version of a portfolio, and they'll open it and give it to you, and then you can like flip through and see all of the digital images that they have. And then if you have one of those, you can also email it to a casting agent or a client for them to see your experience and all of the different looks that you have as well.
You can also, I don't think they use these anymore either, but a comp card.
Yeah.
You can have a digital comp card, but instead of it actually being a book, it's just like a one-sheeter kind of flyer-ish thing that has a couple of pictures on it. But I don't think they use those anymore. And your stats, like your height, your eye color, hair color, your measurements, that kind of thing. Yes, exactly. Okay, girl. Question number 2. Stand up.
Your name's still Brittany? All right.
It's Brittany. I'm not going to say the last part. Got kids. Yeah, that's a good question. That's for you, Dana.
I think when there's special projects, obviously that's not the norm or but they come up a lot more lately. Find out the list of the agencies in the area. Sculpt is one we use a lot, Stage 28. I think there's a couple in Tulsa. But they are using their websites to do general castings. So if they have a special project come up and we reach out to them, they'll put a blast out. So if you're friends with somebody on there, or if you just follow them, they'll be like, hey, we have a job next week. We're looking for this, this, and this. So that is a really good resource because then that's your way to, A, get into the agency as well. It might just be a one-time booking at that, but if it's something you enjoy, it's a foot in the door that you've already worked with them. So I would, follow Instagram, Facebook, local agencies. I would even go down as far as Little Rock or as far as you're willing to travel. I think the biggest market closest to here is probably Dallas. Yeah. But there are a handful of reputable, good agencies in the area. So that would be that's the number one place we go first. And then we try, I was really short on kid models, so I went to my neighborhood and posted in our neighborhood group, and I got about 12 models out of it. So just check, join everything you can. There's so much on there anyway, so just follow a couple more things, and it's just the networking and join Tyson, the Walmart, ours, I think we have one. Just think outside the box a little bit, to find those things, because when they have projects and we need people, that's the same thing. We're like, oh, where do we go to find? So that's going to be the first avenue that will be your best bet.
That's a good idea, because sometimes when you have an idea, like you said, of what a model is, you're like, okay, they're going to be doing these photo shoots and this, but like I got booked for George's Chicken. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still modeling and it still pays. You just have to keep an open mind that modeling is not so narrow as you either doing a runway or you doing a photo shoot. It could be you being in a commercial eating fake chicken because it was fake.
I will correct me if I'm wrong as well. Like, disabilities don't always translate in photographs, and so don't limit yourself to only going for opportunities for people with disabilities. But I think with make sure that your agent communicates that, or that you communicate it with an agency that you're trying to be a part of, just so that if there are any needed allowances like on set or anything like that, that they can prepare in a certain way for you. But yeah, don't think that you have to be pigeonholed to only do special projects, because it's not always necessary. You know what I mean? It may not be visible in the photograph.
You have something, Kathleen?
Oh my goodness, just exactly what Zach said. So, of course, we represent everyone. And I mean, that's not even something we consider sometimes. And to what Zach just said, we don't even notice sometimes. And I don't know, it's just, I think just everyone is welcome, and exactly what he said too. I mean, you just kind of said it. Don't limit yourself. Don't think because XYZ, I have to go here or there.
All right, we're going to do one more question, and then we're going to wrap it up. Oh, now y'all raise y'all hands. Y'all had this whole time. All right. Okay. Absolutely. I'll let Dana answer that question. We'll just do one person answer, and then we'll try to get the rest of y'all.
I think if you look up the agencies that are local in this area, that they also have blasts. Hey, we're looking for new women. These are sizes. These, they are always looking, or they have certain days of the week that they have open calls. Well, if they had enough, or you can send it in. They'll have an info on their website. If you're interested in being a model, send them a headshot, send them your stats. I think little video clip. They all should have that on their website that you can just submit it. And then, if you don't hear something back in a week or two, follow up again, because they're busy and sometimes things, but if this is something you want, sell yourself.
And Dana touched on that a little bit earlier. She did say, if they have an open casting call, that you can go to that. Also, look online. They may have online submissions or applications that you can do. That's also something that will be helpful. Who's over here? All right. What's your name? Absolutely. No, I would say that's not even necessary, because laptops really didn't exist but sure. I would invest in it eventually, but as far as getting started, I don't think that should hold you back. I'll let Zack answer that question.
Yeah, I think you just answered it. There's been parts of my career where I didn't really need one, and then parts where I did. Starting out, not necessarily. It's more about getting the opportunities. And then if you can collect all of those photos and then eventually put them together in a way that you can use them like a portfolio, I think that's, probably the best.
All right, next one was over here. What's your name? Derek. Hi, Derek. Well, I would start by following us on social media. Are you one of those people who doesn't do social media? Okay, yes. We always post the latest details of every casting call or event that we have going on our social media. So I would check it frequently. Maybe if you don't get on social media like that, at least twice a week, to see what's going on and what's happening. You can look at our website at any time, interform.art, and you can also besides Instagram, you could look at Facebook as well. But as long as you're checking kind of frequently, at least twice a week, we post all the details about how to get involved, the casting calls, all of that on our social media. Anybody have any other questions?
I will say too, just to add to what Ro is saying, to maintain equity across our channels, We only release announcements like that at the same time on social media. We don't email anybody. Like, we get a lot of asks of when's the next model audition, when's this opportunity, different stuff like that. But to make sure that it goes out to everyone at the same time and that everyone gets the same opportunity from us, we don't give any of that information out individually. Yeah.
So don't email us. I'm joking. Or am I? Well, that is it. Thank you guys so much for coming. Give yourself a round of applause for even showing up.
Yes, thank you.
We appreciate your time and we appreciate your questions. And yes, go out there and model and style and do all the things.
And if you wear your Model Citizen t-shirt, be sure to tag us.
Yes.
And Natural Threads. They're the ones that made the t-shirts. They're really awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to INTERFORM Podcast. To find out more about INTERFORM, you can go to interform.art. Find us on Instagram. It's also interform.art, or Facebook at INTERFORM Fashion.
You are listening to INTERFORM Podcast with Ro on the radio. You're going to want to hear this.